The desperate call. The Araxian homeworld hung like a jewel against the void, its azure oceans and emerald continents visible even from the observation deck of Earth's orbital diplomatic station. Ambassador Korvax couldn't appreciate the view. His iridescent scales had dulled to a sickly gray, and his four eyes blinked in rapid, anxious patterns as he faced the human delegation. The Hegemon Collective has consumed 3 of our outer colony worlds in less than a standard month, Korvax said, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into smooth English. Their warships now blockade our homeworld. Our scientists estimate total planetary subjugation within 14 days. Admiral Weizhong studied the holographic display hovering between them. The red markers representing hegemon forces surrounded the blue sphere of Araxis Prime in a perfect containment pattern. Dozens of massive warships, each capable of reducing a city to ash in minutes. "And you've attempted negotiations?" asked Undersecretary Amara Okafor, Earth's diplomatic liaison. Korvax's scales rippled in what the humans recognized as bitter amusement. The hegemon do not negotiate. They assimilate or annihilate. Their leader sent a single message: surrender your technology and accept integration, or face extinction. The human delegation exchanged glances. Earth had only achieved faster-than-light travel 30 years ago. In the grand hierarchy of galactic civilizations, humans were newcomers, considered primitive by many older species. Yet the Araxians had welcomed them, sharing knowledge that accelerated humanity's development by centuries. Admiral Zhang tapped his datapad. The Araxian Federation has been Earth's staunchest ally since first contact. We would be remiss not to aid them. "But what can we offer?" asked General Alvarez, head of Earth's defense forces. "The Hegemon Collective possesses technology far beyond our capabilities. Their energy shields can withstand our most powerful weapons, and their battlecruisers outclass anything in our fleet. We have no choice but to try," Admiral Zhang said firmly. "I propose we deploy Fleet 12. The room fell silent. Korvax looked between the humans, confusion evident in his posture. "Fleet 12, he asked. "Our intelligence suggests your primary battle groups are Fleets 1 through 5. Is this Fleet 12 a special combat unit?" Undersecretary Okafor smiled, in a manner of speaking. 3 days later, Captain Maya Santiago stood on the bridge of the Earth fleet ship Ingenuity, watching as her small fleet prepared for departure. 12 vessels in total, a motley collection of retrofitted research ships, modified cargo haulers, and a few lightweight patrol vessels. Not a single dedicated warship among them. "Status report," she ordered, tucking a strand of dark hair behind her ear. Lieutenant Commander Ravi Patil looked up from his console. "All ships report ready for FTL jump, Captain. The Curiosity, Paradigm, and Horizon have completed loading their specialized equipment. Dr. Caffrey reports that her team is secured for transit." Santiago nodded, studying the fleet manifest one more time. 236 crew members across all vessels, barely enough to staff a single medium cruiser by military standards. But these weren't ordinary crew members. "Open ship-wide communication," she said. "Channel open, Captain," replied Ensign Yumi Tanaka from communications. Santiago took a deep breath. "Attention all hands. As you know, we've been tasked with an impossible mission: to save the Araxian Federation from the Hegemon Collective. We are outnumbered and outgunned. The enemy possesses technology far superior to our own conventional weapons." She paused, looking around at her bridge crew, scientists, engineers, and problem solvers who had chosen to serve in Earth's most unorthodox fleet. But as human history has shown time and again, superior firepower doesn't always determine the victor. Fleet 12 exists because Earth recognized that the greatest battles are won not with the biggest guns, but with the sharpest minds. Each of you was selected because you see solutions where others see only problems. Santiago's eyes fell on the holographic display showing their destination: Araxis Prime, surrounded by the overwhelming force of the Hegemon. "The Araxians don't need our firepower. They need our creativity, our adaptability, our uniquely human ability to make the impossible possible. That is why Admiral Zhang deployed Fleet 12. Not because we're expendable, but because we're essential. She straightened her shoulders. Prepare for FTL jump. Let's show the galaxy what humanity's weakest fleet can do. The journey to Araxian space took 4 days, during which the fleet's specialists worked tirelessly. Santiago spent most of her time in the main laboratory aboard the Ingenuity, where Dr. HFY led a team of physicists, engineers, and computer scientists. The Hegemon's advantage lies in their unified technology, Dr. Capri explained, gesturing to the simulations running on multiple screens. Every ship, weapon, and system operates on the same underlying principles, a quantum entanglement network that coordinates their entire fleet as a single organism, which makes them devastatingly efficient, Santiago noted. Dr. Capri smiled. And potentially vulnerable. Quantum entanglement is notoriously sensitive to external interference. We've been analyzing the data the Araxians provided on previous Hegemon attacks. There's a pattern to their network oscillations. Can we exploit it? We're working on it. Dr. Chen's team on the Paradigm is developing quantum disruptors that might create localized interference. It won't disable their systems entirely, but it could introduce enough chaos to give us an opening. Santiago nodded. Keep me updated. We drop out of FTL in 18 hours. The Ingenuity emerged from FTL on the edge of the Araxian system, the rest of Fleet 12 following in precise formation. Immediately, the sensors lit up with warnings. Captain, I'm detecting 37 Hegemon warships in orbit around Araxis Prime, reported Lieutenant Emma Lewis. Their energy signatures indicate fully charged weapon systems. Any sign they've detected us? Santiago asked. Negative. We're just outside their sensor range. Santiago activated the fleet-wide channel. All ships, maintain position. Begin deploying sensor probes. I want detailed scans of their fleet configuration and communication patterns. For the next 6 hours, Fleet 12 gathered data, analyzing every aspect of the Hegemon blockade. The ships maintained stealth protocols, their hulls designed to absorb rather than reflect sensor suites. In the conference room, adjacent to the bridge, Santiago met with the fleet's chief specialists via holographic projection. Their ships are arranged in a perfect dodecahedron pattern around the planet, explained Commander Liu from the horizon. Each vessel maintains quantum entanglement with its nearest neighbors, creating a seamless defensive network. What about weaknesses? Santiago asked. Dr. Capri stepped forward. We've identified fluctuations in their quantum field. Every 73 minutes, the entire network recalibrates. During that process, there's a 3-second window where the entanglement temporarily destabilizes before reestablishing. 3 seconds isn't much time, Santiago mused. It's not, agreed Dr. Chen from the Paradigm. But we've developed quantum pulse emitters that could potentially extend that window to 30 seconds by introducing harmonic interference. Commander Osei from the Curiosity added, my team has also discovered something interesting about their shield technology. It's optimized against high-energy weapons, lasers, plasma, antimatter. But it's surprisingly vulnerable to kinetic impacts at specific resonant frequencies. Santiago looked around at the holograms of Earth's finest minds, each bringing a unique perspective to an impossible problem. This was why Fleet 12 existed, not to outgun adversaries, but to outthink them. All right, she said decisively. Here's what we're going to do. 8 hours later, the Hegemon detected an incoming transmission from the edge of the system. This is Captain Maya Santiago of the Earth Fleet ship Ingenuity. The message began. We represent the United Earth Government. We request parley regarding the current conflict with the Araxian Federation. The response came swiftly. A barrage of energy weapons fire that scorched the space where the transmission originated. But the Ingenuity wasn't there. The message had been sent from an unmanned probe. As the Hegemon weapons fired, 12 small ships emerged from stealth on the opposite side of the planet. They weren't approaching to attack. Instead, They deployed hundreds of tiny objects that began falling toward Araxis Prime. Aboard the flagship of the Hegemon fleet, Supreme Commander Vorkath received reports of the strange deployment. Analysis indicates they are simple metal objects, reported his second. No energy signatures, no explosive compounds. They appear to be weights of some kind. Vorkath hissed in contempt. Primitive projectiles. Scan for the Earth vessels. They must be attempting a diversion. Sensors detect no other ships. Supreme Commander. Wait, the objects are accelerating beyond normal gravitational parameters. On the bridge of the Ingenuity, Santiago watched as the operation unfolded. Gravity modulators functioning at optimal capacity, reported Dr. Chen. The weights are reaching terminal velocity now. The weights were specially designed resonance hammers, each calibrated to a specific frequency and accelerated by gravity manipulation technology. As they struck the Hegemon shields, they created overlapping patterns of vibration. Not enough to break through, but enough to set up a complex interference pattern. Quantum pulse emitters ready, announced Dr. Catry, waiting for the next recalibration window. Santiago checked the countdown. 30 seconds until recalibration. All ships prepare for Phase 2. When the Hegemon quantum network began its routine recalibration, the ships of Fleet 12 activated their pulse emitters simultaneously. The carefully calculated quantum interference stretched the 3-second vulnerability window as predicted. Deploying Phase 3 now, Santiago ordered. From each human ship, swarms of tiny drones launched toward the Hegemon vessels. Not weapons, but carriers, each containing a specially engineered quantum virus designed to infiltrate the Hegemon network during its vulnerable state. Infection rate at 72% and climbing, reported Commander Liu. The virus is propagating through their entanglement network. What is happening? Demanded Vorkath as his ship's systems began behaving erratically. Weapons powered down, shields fluctuated, and communication with the fleet became garbled. Unknown cybernetic infection, replied his increasingly panicked second. It's spreading through the quantum link. We cannot isolate. The officer stopped mid-sentence as all console displays throughout the Hegemon fleet suddenly displayed the same message in the Hegemon language. Your technological advantage against BCOM your DOTUEAKNESS. Withdraw from ARAXIAN space immediately or DUI while P remain and DISABL your fleet. The message was signed. Humanity's Voekeist Fleet. The unexpected solution. Supreme Commander Vorkath of the Hegemon Collective stared at the message displayed across every console on his flagship with mounting rage. His chitinous exoskeleton flushed crimson as he slammed a clawed appendage against the nearest surface. Restore control immediately, he commanded. These primitives cannot defeat the technological superiority of the collective. His officers worked frantically, but each attempt to purge the infection only seemed to accelerate its spread. The quantum entanglement network that had been the Hegemon's greatest strength was now transmitting the human virus to every connected system with perfect efficiency. Aboard the ESS Ingenuity, Captain Maya Santiago monitored the chaos unfolding within the Hegemon fleet. What had begun as a desperate gambit was working better than they had dared hope. Dr. Catry, what's our status? Santiago asked. The physicist studied her display with poorly concealed excitement. The quantum virus has achieved 98% penetration across their network. We have effective control over their non-essential systems, communications, sensor arrays, shield harmonics. Their weapons and propulsion remain isolated on separate networks, but they're operating at reduced capacity due to the compromised coordination systems. Lieutenant Commander Patel looked up from his station. Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Hegemon flagship. Audio only. Put it through, Santiago ordered, straightening her uniform. The bridge speakers crackled with the harsh, translated voice of Vorkath. Human vessel, you commit an act of war against the Hegemon collective. Your primitive tricks will not save you. We still possess enough firepower to obliterate your pathetic fleet and the Araxian world." Santiago nodded to Patul, who opened the return channel. "This is Captain Santiago. Your assessment is correct. Supreme Commander, you still possess superior firepower. However, firepower isn't everything in warfare." She gestured to Dr. Katri, who activated the next phase of their plan. Throughout the Hijman fleet, emergency alarms suddenly blared. Environmental systems began reporting critical failures, life support showed imminent collapse, and reactor cores indicated destabilization. All false readings implanted by the human virus. "What you're experiencing is just a demonstration," Santiago continued. "We control your environmental systems, your sensor arrays, your shield harmonics. Right now, your crews believe they're facing imminent death. We could make those beliefs reality, but that's not our intention." On the Hijman flagship, pandemonium reigned as crew members abandoned their posts, convinced the ship was about to depressurize or explode. Vorkath raged, attempting to restore order, but the carefully engineered panic spread too quickly. "You have 1 hour to withdraw all forces from Araxian space," Santiago stated calmly. "After that, we'll be forced to take more permanent measures." The transmission cut off, leaving Vorkath staring at his fractured command structure. For the first time in his long military career, the Supreme Commander felt something unfamiliar. Uncertainty. Santiago turned to her bridge crew. "Now we wait." Dr. Chen's hologram appeared on the bridge. "Captain, I'm detecting unusual energy readings from 3 Hijman vessels. They appear to be attempting to manually override their quantum network." "Interesting," Santiago mused. "They're more adaptable than intelligence suggested. Dr. Katri, can they break free of our control?" "Given enough time, possibly," the physicist admitted. "Our virus exploits their current network architecture. If they're willing to sacrifice their unified command structure and operate ships independently, they could eventually regain control." Santiago nodded thoughtfully. "Then we accelerate our timeline." "Commander Liu, is your team ready with Phase 4? "Yes, Captain. The quantum resonance cascade is prepared. On your command." Santiago took a deep breath. This was the riskiest part of their plan, a theoretical application of quantum principles that had never been tested in real-world conditions. Execute Phase 4. Across the Araxian system, the 12 human ships activated specialized emitters that had been carefully positioned during the initial chaos. These devices generated overlapping fields of quantum distortion, creating a cascading effect through the Hijman's entangled systems. The result was immediate and dramatic. Throughout the Hijman fleet, quantum-based technology began failing in sequence: weapons, shields, propulsion, even basic life support. Ships drifted, powerless and vulnerable. "Quantum cascade successful," reported Commander Liu. "Hijman fleet is effectively neutralized. Their technology will require complete recalibration before it functions properly again." Santiago opened a channel to the stricken Hijman flagship. "Supreme Commander Vorkath, your fleet is now defenseless. We could destroy every vessel under your command without firing a single conventional weapon. Instead, we offer you a choice: withdraw from Araxian space permanently, and we will provide the technical specifications needed to restore your ship's functionality once you're beyond the system boundary. Refuse, and your fleet will become derelicts, your crews stranded in space." Hours later, Santiago stood in the observation lounge of the Ingenuity, watching as the last Hijman vessel limped out of the Araxian system, its engine struggling with the makeshift repairs that allowed just enough functionality for retreat. Ambassador Korvax joined her, his scales now shimmering with healthy iridescence. "Captain Santiago, the Araxian Federation owes humanity a debt we can never repay. You saved our civilization." Santiago smiled. "We did what allies do." "But I must confess my confusion," Korvax continued. "Our intelligence indicated that Earth possessed more powerful military fleets. Why send your smallest, seemingly weakest force against such a formidable enemy? Santiago turned to face the ambassador. Fleet 12 isn't our weakest fleet, Ambassador. In many ways, it's our strongest. Seeing Korvax's puzzled expression, she explained, the ships of Fleet 12 carry the highest concentration of scientific and engineering expertise in Earth's space forces. Every crew member holds advanced degrees in fields ranging from quantum physics to psychological warfare. We have fewer weapons because we focus on solving problems, not overwhelming them with firepower. But such an approach seems risky, Korvax observed. It is, Santiago agreed. But throughout human history, our greatest victories haven't come from having the biggest armies or the most destructive weapons. They've come from innovation, from adapting and finding unexpected solutions. The hegemon never considered us a serious threat because they measured strength only in terms of destructive capability. She gestured to the stars beyond the viewport. The galaxy is filled with civilizations that have had interstellar travel for thousands of years longer than humanity. We can't compete on technological terms. Not yet, but we can offer something different. Perspective. Approaches that more established species might never consider because they're too invested in conventional thinking. Korvax's scales rippled in what humans had learned was thoughtful consideration. This explains much about your species' rapid advancement since joining the galactic community. Where others see limitations, you see opportunities. Exactly. Fleet 12 exists because Earth recognized that brute force isn't always the answer. Sometimes you need to change the rules of engagement entirely. As the Ingenuity prepared to return to Earth, word of humanity's victory spread throughout nearby systems. The story grew with each retelling, how Earth had sent its weakest fleet against the dreaded hegemon collective and emerged triumphant without firing a single conventional shot. In the galactic diplomatic arena, perspectives on humanity shifted overnight. Species that had dismissed humans as primitive newcomers now reassessed their potential. The hegemon collective, once thought unstoppable, retreated to its core systems to reconsider its expansion strategy in light of this unexpected defeat. Admiral Zhang greeted Santiago upon her return to Earth Orbital Command. Fleet 12 has done humanity proud, Captain. Your approach to the hegemon threat has changed how the galaxy perceives us. We did what we were designed to do, Admiral, Santiago replied. We found a solution when conventional tactics would have failed. Zhang nodded, his expression thoughtful. The Galactic Council has requested increased human participation in diplomatic and scientific initiatives. It seems our reputation for unorthodox problem-solving is in high demand. And the Oraxians? Recovering well. They've proposed a joint research initiative, combining their centuries of experience with our innovative approaches. The Admiral smiled. It seems humanity has found its place in the galactic community not as warriors, but as problem solvers. As Captain Santiago looked out at Earth below, she reflected on the lesson the hegemon had learned at great cost. In a universe of ancient civilizations with overwhelming technological advantages, humanity's greatest strength wasn't firepower or advanced technology. It was the human mind, adaptable, creative, and capable of changing the rules when the game seemed unwinnable. The galaxy would never underestimate humanity's weakest fleet again.